Why do your favorite hobbies suddenly feel pointless after awakening? The games you obsessed over, the music that once saved you, the art that made you feel alive, now? Nothing, just emptiness. It feels like part of you has died, and the voice in your head whispers, "You're broken, you've lost yourself." But, Jung said, this is exactly where awakening begins. This isn't depression, this isn't failure. Jung warned that awakening doesn't give you more to cling to, it rips the mask off. That's why the passions that once gave you identity, status, or escape suddenly collapse. In this video, I'll walk you through the 6 questions haunting you right now. Why your old loves feel dead. How to know if this is depression or transformation. How long the void lasts. What comes after the collapse. And how to connect with people when you don't share the same old mass. By the end, you'll see that this emptiness isn't the end of joy, it's the death of illusion, and the beginning of your real self. You didn't suddenly become lazy. You didn't lose your passions the way you lose keys or socks. What really died was the old reason you had for doing them. Your hobbies weren't just pastimes, they were masks. They gave you a ready-made identity, the gamer, the musician, the gym guy. They handed you proof that you mattered, the ranked win, the finished song, the new personal record at the gym, and they kept certain feelings quiet, loneliness, anxiety, the fear of not being good enough. That mix was powerful, it worked, until one day, it didn't. Awakening cracks the mask. Suddenly you realized you weren't gaming just for fun. You were gaming to feel like a winner. You weren't painting because you loved color. You were painting because you wanted to be seen as talented. You weren't chasing numbers in the gym because you loved your body. You were doing it so the mirror would approve. The moment you see this truth, the spell is broken. The fuel vanishes. You can still press play, lift the weight, strum the chord, but the spark is gone. And here's the first question. Why do I suddenly lose interest in the things I once loved? Because the payoff has changed. You no longer believe in the bargain you once lived by. If I perform well enough, I will finally feel okay. Once that bargain collapses, so does your interest. The second question always follows. Does this mean I'm broken or even depressed? The short answer, not necessarily. What you're experiencing may not be damage, it may be growth. Think about the pattern. You're not drained everywhere. You're not incapable of caring about anything. You've simply stopped pouring energy into activities that feel fake. That's not failure. That's your system refusing to waste energy on things that no longer fit. But let's not sugarcoat it. Sometimes loss of interest is depression or burnout, and you need to know the difference. Let's break it down with 3 lenses: energy, meaning, and recovery. Energy. In depression, energy is gone across the board. Even showering or answering a text feels heavy. In burnout, energy is scorched in one area, like work or caregiving, while other parts of life still have sparks. In awakening collapse, energy is still there, but it refuses to power the mask. You can focus, you can create, but only on what feels real. Meaning. In depression, the voice says, nothing matters. It's global, gray, and sticky. In burnout, the voice says, this track is pointless. It's specific to one domain that's drained you too long. In awakening collapse, the voice says, that mattered to my image, not to me. It's precise. It strips away illusions, but leaves space for a different kind of meaning to emerge. Recovery. In depression, rest doesn't fix it. Sleep, weekends, even long breaks don't restore motivation. In burnout, proper rest and boundaries eventually help. But in awakening, honesty itself restores you. The moment you admit, I was only doing this to be seen, a different kind of energy appears. Not hype, not adrenaline, but quiet clarity. Test it in your own life. You stop grinding ranked matches, but you can still get absorbed in a single-player story where no one's watching. You stop posting your sketches online, but you doodle at midnight without caring if anyone likes it. You stop chasing personal records at the gym, but you walk for an hour and feel lighter afterward. Notice the thread. You didn't lose the ability, you lost the audience. The skill remains, but the hunger to prove yourself is gone. That's not collapse, that's filter. Of course, collapse comes with grief. It's not just boredom you're feeling, it's mourning. You're grieving the roles you played, the gamer, the artist, the athlete. You're grieving the communities that formed around those roles, the routines that filled your weekends, the story you used to tell yourself every night before sleep. And grief hurts. It feels like you lost yourself. But grief doesn't mean wrong turn. Grief means something real is dying, so that something more real can be born. If you're unsure whether a hobby is truly gone or just changing, here are 3 blunt questions to ask yourself. First, if nobody could see this, no stats, no likes, no applause, would I still want to do it? Second, after doing it, do I feel more whole or just distracted for a few hours? Third, if I had to be terrible at this for a year straight, would I still keep going? If your answers are yes, your passion isn't dead, it's just shedding its mask. If your answers are no, let it rest. Forcing it will only muddy the truth. So what is the collapse, really? It's your inner filter turning on. It strips away the noise, the status games, the band-aids used to cover wounds. What can't pass through, performance, distraction, ego, falls away. What survives is what belongs to you. At first it feels like silence. At first it feels like death. But it isn't. It's space. Space where the next, truer thing can finally speak. When the old passions fall apart, what's left is silence. Not peaceful silence, but the kind that feels like a hole in your chest. You try to play the game you once loved, and it feels empty. You put on the music that once saved you, and it's just noise. You walk into the gym, touch the bar, and feel nothing. That's the void. The stage where nothing excites you, and you wonder if you'll ever feel alive again. The big question everyone asks is, how long does this last? Here's the hard truth. There's no fixed timeline. For some, it lasts a few months. For others, it stretches into years. It depends on one thing: how willing you are to let go of the old mask. The more you cling to who you used to be, the longer the emptiness lingers. If you keep trying to force yourself to love the game, the gym, the art the way you once did, you'll stay stuck in limbo. The void isn't punishment, it's a reset. Think of it like a burned field. The fire looks brutal, but it clears the ground so something new can grow. That's what's happening inside you. The old ways of proving yourself, the likes, the scores, the trophies are burning down, and it takes time before the soil is ready for new life. So what do you do in this empty space? The mistake most people make is trying to fill it with noise. They binge Netflix, scroll for hours, chase dopamine just to feel something. But that only stretches the void longer. The void is asking you to sit still for once, to stop proving, stop performing, and let yourself feel the nothingness. As terrifying as it is, that's where the shift happens. A better question than how long does this last is what should I do while I'm here? And the answer is simple: small, honest things. Go for a walk without tracking steps. Write a few lines in a journal without worrying if it's good. Play a song for yourself, not for Instagram. Clean your desk. Cook a meal. Call one friend and actually say how you're doing. These little acts don't look like much, but they keep you grounded while the deeper reset happens. How do you know you're moving forward? The boredom changes. At first it's restless. You're frustrated, angry, itching for distraction. Later it softens into calm boredom. You don't feel amazing, but you're okay sitting in silence. Then small sparks return. One day you want to sketch, not to post, but because it feels good. One day a walk feels less like killing time and more like breathing. That's when you know the void is doing its job. So, how long does the void last? Long enough to teach you this: your life can't run on applause. Your joy can't depend on being the gamer, the athlete, or the artist. When that lesson sinks in, the emptiness slowly gives way to something real. And when the spark returns, it won't be about proving yourself. It will be about being yourself. After the emptiness, something new begins to take shape. Not loud, not dramatic, more like small sparks showing up when you least expect them. And here's the big question: if old hobbies feel dead, what comes next? The answer is simple. New passions do appear, but they feel different. They aren't about proving yourself anymore. They aren't about showing off. They're about feeling alive in the moment. You don't chase them for points, likes, or trophies. You do them because they make you feel more like yourself. Maybe you sit down with your guitar again. This time you're not trying to write the perfect song. You just play the same 3 chords over and over, and notice how calm it makes you. Maybe you cook a meal, not to post on Instagram, but just to eat something warm and real. Maybe you start taking long walks, not counting steps, not logging miles, just walking. Maybe you write a page in a notebook at night, not poetry for anyone else, just words you needed to get out. At first, these things feel small. They don't give the big rush your old hobbies used to. But here's the difference. When you're done, you feel steady. You feel like you gained something real, instead of just numbing yourself for a while. That's how you know this is rebirth. A good way to test whether something belongs in your new life is to ask 3 questions. First, if nobody ever saw this, would I still want to do it? Second, when I finish, do I feel clearer or just distracted for a bit? Third, if I'm bad at this for a year, do I still want to keep going? If the answer is yes, it's real. If the answer is no, let it go. But here's the next challenge. How do you connect with people when you don't share the old hobbies anymore? This is one of the hardest parts of rebirth. Because let's be honest, a lot of friendships are built on shared interests, gaming together, training together, jamming together. When you walk away from those things, it can feel like you're walking away from the people too. At first it might get lonely, that's normal, but rebirth means learning to connect in a deeper way, not through performance, but through honesty. Start small. When someone asks, "How are you?" don't just say good. Try saying one true thing. Honestly, I've been in a reset. I'm figuring things out. That's enough. It opens the door for real conversation. Invite people into simple, low-pressure moments. Instead of ranked matches or competitions, try a walk, a quiet coffee, cooking together, even just sitting in the same room while doing separate things. These moments don't need scores or highlights, they just need presence. Also, look for spaces where people show up without keeping score. A community garden, a local volunteer group, a hiking meetup. These places aren't about status, they're about showing up and being part of something. That's where real connections grow. And don't worry if some old friends drift away. That's part of it. Some people only knew the mask you wore, but others will stick around. They'll like the quieter, more honest version of you. Those are the ones worth keeping. It will feel lonely at times, yes, but little by little you'll notice something shift. Instead of 10 surface-level friendships, you'll have 2 or 3 that feel solid. Instead of chasing approval, you'll feel accepted just for being there. That's connection without performance. So, what comes after the death of your old hobbies? A life that finally feels yours. Passions that don't need applause. People who don't need you to wear a mask. It's not flashy. It won't look like a highlight reel, but it will feel steady, real, and alive. That's the rebirth. So let's step back. The collapse, the void, the rebirth. What does it all mean? It means the death of your hobbies is not the death of you. It's the death of illusions. The roles, the masks, the stories you used to survive. They had to fall apart, because only when they're gone can you see yourself without the costume. That emptiness you feel isn't a mistake. It's a doorway. Jung called this process individuation, becoming whole. But you don't need the word. You just need to know this. The silence is not empty. It's clearing space for what's real. So here are 3 truths to carry out of this stage. First, don't confuse awakening with depression. Depression drains your energy everywhere. Awakening only steals it from what's fake. Look closely at your energy. That difference matters. Second, don't fight the void. Don't force your old passions back to life, and don't panic if nothing excites you right now. The void is doing its work, burning away what no longer fits. Third, build new connections without the mask. Stop bonding over performance. Start bonding over presence. One real conversation is worth more than 100 highlight reels. This is not the end of joy. It's the end of pretending. And that's what makes room for joy to be real. Now I'll leave you with this. What passion have you lost since awakening? And what small spark do you feel waiting beneath the silence? Share it in the comments. Someone else may need to hear your story. And if you want to keep exploring Jung's shadow work and the mysteries of awakening, subscribe. There's more to uncover than most people dare to face.